Okay, and welcome back to this week's episode. Heller Barnes. We keep changing it, but it's really Heller Barnes. Ask us anything. And of course, today we have a pretty cool guy. Bill Lord is joining us. So I'm going to let Johnny give us the big introduction here. Johnny, can you tell us about Mr. Bill?
Oh,
Bill
boy.
Lord is a one-time DJ, had a great career doing that. Then got into audiobooks, where he's still doing wonderful things. He's an award-winning audiobook narrator. He is an audiobook performance coach, and most importantly, he's one of my best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Lord.
Yeah. All right. I got to get some sound effects. So we have all the, yeah, there we go. See?
Is that you,
Good
Bill?
thing Bill's got that going. So.
Bill's got this cool gadget thing. He and I are going to start a podcast, not about audio, but just a podcast to shoot the breeze about stuff. So he has a machine already that does crap, that does things like that.
It does. It does. I think we're going to call it, let's call it So What?
So what? Yeah. Who
So,
gives you crap?
Yeah, so what? Anyway. So.
Don't bother.
So how'd you two meet? Do you remember?
Let me think. We got to go back sometime. What's today's date? Let's see.
It was back in 2014, Mr. Heller.
I think I was coaching at Edge then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Billy was a student of mine at Edge. I think he just came through the Edge. Somehow he got through the blockers there and got to me. And so I worked with him, and then realized it was hopeless, no place to go. So I just became a friend out of just I felt he was very needy. And that's pretty not happened. So that was my God, had to be 10 years ago or more, right?
Yeah, it was 2014. Yeah.
2014, that's when it was there. Oh, it was 10 years. It's a happy anniversary, Bill.
Oh yeah, same to you. Friend anniversary. So you and Monda were my first coaches, and actually a little bit with Danielle Quisenberry.
Oh right, yeah.
And how long ago was this?
That was 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you're still a beginner, yeah?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And now I think somehow they decided to hire you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
it was kind of a full circle moment. I got a call from David Goldberg, and he said, "We needed a coach. You're the first person I thought of."
Awesome.
And I was like, "Well, I don't know why, but."
And you're still doing that today?
Yeah, I think we've been doing that for 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
And then you do this now. You also coach independently as well, so somebody can contact you directly. Is that close?
Absolutely.
So Johnny, you want to take the first questions?
I don't have any. No, yeah, sure. I do. So actually, Bill's come a long way, because when he started out, he had come from, I don't know what he had just. He's one of the guys who's done a million things, but he's a radio disc jockey. And where, in Rehoboth?
No, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, down around there.
Okay, so
that was nearly 20 years.
When we talk music or something, we have he has all these. His scope and his knowledge is fascinating, and every once in a while he gets into a radio patter, which I find interesting. But he comes from that background, and then he's into the now in the performance area of his work. He's really come a long way. He's done some fantastic. He's a great sense of humor. You can't tell because look at him, but he's wicked funny, as he'd say. And so he does some wonderful, wonderful things, and it's really a pleasure for me and other listeners to see how far he's grown, how far he's come, and what he does. It's really wonderful. So kudos to you, sir. Your work is just you've just come so far, and it's a real joy to see that.
Well, thank you.
Now, to what do you attribute? Now, I think success is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us feel overly. We're always looking for the next job. Don is, I am, you are. What would you say has led to your, and we'll talk about your year break sort of, but what's led up to you being more and more successful in the audiobook world? Successful, sorry.
Well, my ability to become a better actor, I think, is the bottom line there. When I first started, I was, the typical radio guy, born to entertain. So everything that came out of my mouth, felt like it had to be bombastic and, fantastic and, blah, blah, blah. And it took a while for you to calm me the fuck down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what's a typical what's a typical radio or DJ voice, or I mean, what do you see as a difference there? What did you mean?
Well, just that you're always upbeat and it's coming up next and oh my God, you're not going to believe that who's coming to town this week and you're always excited and I think that's sort of how to put it.
Yeah, there's that false energy that you build up this energy, Dirty Don, Garlet, drag racing, now, Sunday, that kind of thing, which is hard to maintain, and you're trying to create an energy around something that you may not even enjoy.
Right.
Did you do a lot of your own commercials, radio spots on your show?
I wrote and produced thousands upon thousands of commercials.
Do you get extra money for doing that as a DJ?
Nah, it's part of the gig, man.
Wow.
Part of the gig.
Hey,
You get off,
Don,
you get off the air.
I need to get a water. I'm all
Sure.
Just take over once. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And notice, so the rest of us are equipped with our water and stuff. I mean, that's one of those things you learn to do if you're doing this business long enough. Also, a lot of people. So, are you a big hydration type of guy?
Oh yeah, and Heller's a hack. Come on, let's be honest. No, I'll tell you what. I drink more water than it's like I cannot believe how much water I drink. I have a
some narrator does a show or whatever. It's not the real secret. It's you have to do a lot of this stuff in advance because you can't hydrate your vocal cords just by drinking. That doesn't work. They're in a different place. So you need to be hydrating way before you need the hydration. And that's why Bill is doing it at night. That's why Johnny is doing it. You usually be doing it the day before, the night before, the morning, if you're going to do something in a few hours. And how much will you do the same day? First off, do you start off your morning narrating? Are you a morning narrator, an evening narrator, whenever it?
I'm more of a midday guy.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
So I'm breakfast guy here at the house.
Okay.
Every morning I get up and I'll make pancakes or bacon and eggs or this or that or the other thing. So I'm making breakfast for me and my baby. And I don't know, about 9 or 10 o'clock, we go to work. We stumble down the hallway. She goes that way, I go this way. And, then I just sort of warm up when I'm getting ready to record. I, get into the story and get into what's going on. And, probably about 10:30 or so, I'll start. Hit the record button. Does that answer your question?
I mean, the hydration that Don brought up, it's so important. Everybody I've worked with, coach with, Scott Brick talks about, we all talk about it. Sometimes you can't forget how important it is, and it's got to be part of your daily routine. You can't say, I've got it, like as Don mentioned, you can't say I've got a book to do this week, so I'm going to drink water.
Right.
It has to be, you have to drink. I drink tons and tons. I mean, one of my problems is, and it's a problem, I drink everything like it's water. Everything. So, if this thing's full of bourbon, I'm going to drink it like it's water, which is a problem, here, hand me that bottle of wine. So you have to make sure that I fill this thing, God, constantly. So I'm drinking all the time. I don't put it by my bed because I like really cold water. Of course, you have an insulated doodad. Yeah, and also if you fill that up, you need another one to pee into.
Because, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how you guys do that.
God forbid you mix it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I don't. By the way, so I also do electrolytes in my water and stuff like that because but some of it is just because I'm exercising occasionally, and You can't just do water without some sort of electrolytes if you're going to be doing some physical activity as well. So I'm doing both on that.
I'm a nut for that. A green Gatorade.
Oh, okay. I don't
I,
because of the sugar and stuff.
is there sugar in there? No wonder why I like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like what's. If I
And,
like a thing, I just eat it. I don't want to know what's in it.
Yeah.
and a lot of sodium too. A lot.
Oh, is there in Gatorade?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
but that's what people, if they're exercising, they do lose some of that. So yeah, I mean, I actually add there's something called Elements, which has magnesium and sodium and potassium, or it has some stuff in it. So almost all the electrolyte things have some sodium in them, and there's a balance on all this stuff. Okay, and so just make sure that you're researching what works and trying the different things, but still comes
here's
down to
Nancy Bober with the most important question. And since we started our show, what type of bourbon? I will say Bill and his wife Joya and me all we like Manhattans. So does Adam Barr, as a matter of fact. So the Manhattan, I like a rye, but
Mhm.
the bourbon I seem to like these days, personally, is called Great Jones, and that is a
Is that
bourbon.
the one in Manhattan?
Yeah, it's on Great Jones Street. It's so good.
Huh.
It's just I don't know why, but it's like $65 a bottle, so it's not that's a bit much. I mean, since everybody makes bourbon, you can get bourbon from Cleveland. It doesn't have to be Kentucky anymore,
Right.
so it's all over. But so there's a lot of good bourbons, but there's some have a I don't like Scotch.
Mhm.
I'm not able to really do that. So if it has too much of that peat flavor to it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
If it's too sweet, I don't like it. So you got to find this taste. What you need to do is just do a tasting and then and try and take notes. And you'll note toward the end of your tasting, you won't be able to read your notes.
So how has this contributed to your narration? Or is this the night before or the day of you're doing the bourbon? Uh,
I have been known to have it a little glass here in the booth just to keep my throat hydrated. I tell myself, but it's you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. You can't. I mean, you can't get all messed up and do the job. I don't care what you think happens. When you're hammered, you're hammered.
Right.
Right.
If
Right.
you can't do, hey, let's do some crystal meth and go record a book.
Right.
That's not a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to understand much of this is just in jest.
Ingest. Yes.
Except this, I do like bourbon.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, John, are you a morning recording person? Do you do most of your recording first thing in the morning? Your mid-afternoon? Your night?
It kind of depends if Joanna's a night person,
Mm-hmm.
because she doesn't wake up early. I have of late been getting up absurdly early, 5:30 and 6 for no reason of late. So I can work then if I want, but it really depends on when the book is due.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if I feel like if I'm going to sit around, I kind of like the mornings just to have coffee and catch up on the news and then maybe do some reading. And I like to get to work 10 or 11 and go till 1 or 2 or so I guess I'd say 10 till about 2 or 3. If you're working at a studio though, if they book you, it's like 10 to 4, 10 to 5. You have to go to their studio. Pardon me. So you don't have a choice there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't set a count. I don't say I've got to get up at 8 and do something. I don't. If I don't want to schedule like that because that's why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'd be in corporate America, and I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And so,
That's
Bill,
for sure.
sometimes you will record in the mornings if you, or is it that's just kind of a non-starter and you just go late?
Well, yeah, I mean, generally, like I say, 10:30, something like that, I'll hit the record button. If I'm on a deadline, I'll be in there at 8:00,
Yeah.
7:30, whatever.
A
And
deadline
what's on
makes
your
a
mind,
difference.
Mr. Heller?
Huh?
What's on your mind? You're
What's on
busting,
my mind is when he
busting the
says he
gut.
gets up and makes breakfast, he's not pouring Kellogg's in a bowl. Bill and his wife Joya are both pretty much gourmet cooks. I
Oh,
kid you, I've
stop.
been to his house many times, and you don't need to go to a restaurant. They're both amazing. I mean, their meals are not only cooked to perfection, they're served like it's a restaurant in France. It's quite amazing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
his breakfast is if you ever go to Bill's house, make him cook you something. It's incredible.
Well,
Here's Barbara Hensley has a question, Billy boy.
okay, and by the way, in the morning, you're probably going to get some homemade bacon. Anyway, how did Bill come up with Nothing Rhymes with Orange Studio? That's an interesting question. So 10 years ago, when I was, starting the voiceover business, um, everybody makes a play on their name, right? So what are you going to do with Lord? The heavenly voice, or, something. It just nothing seemed right.
Selected by God.
Yeah, right.
You could have used Bill. I mean, you have two names and maybe a middle name, but whatever. Anyway, go ahead. Excuse me.
No, that's fine. So all I was coming up with was like stupid stuff that I didn't like. So Joya finally said, "What about Nothing Rhymes with Orange?" And I was like, "That is the stupidest freaking thing I've ever heard." I was like, "No, what? What are you talking about?" You know? And she said, "No, stop and think about it. It's catchy, it's memorable, it's da 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 da." And I was like, "It's stupid." 2 days later, it had been percolating, and I went back to her and I said, "Baby, I'm so sorry, man. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
Yeah.
And I talked to her just like this, just like
Oh,
Billy.
and that works, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why she stays with you. Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, I know
So
stupid things. So first off, marketing is about people remembering you, obviously. So that actually is a very cool thing. So she was right. You were
yeah,
wrong. Let's get
yeah.
that straight. Uh, and it is something that once people know it, then they remember it. And a lot of great companies do come up with something like that, where it has to be something that people can remember.
Mhm, mhm.
That's a much bigger deal than having it be a play on your name, unless you come up with something really clever. Then and that's hard to
Yeah.
do. Well, hard for me to do.
The voice of the Lord.
Yeah, well, I just think if your last name's Lord, there's something you could do that uses that, because in my pardon me, in my opinion, when people send me notes, I'm going to coach, I want to do something, and I don't, and it's not a name. Like if something comes from Bill Lord, I know. If it comes from Advanced Voice Studio, then I don't know who that is.
Right.
So the connection, I think people know, Bill, that you have Nothing Rhymes with Orange. They somehow know it. But for a lot of people, there's no connection to what they've named their studio or their business and their name. And for me, I just think it's just simpler if I know that
Yeah.
if someone's looking for Johnny Heller, they just go find Johnny Heller.
Right.
If someone's looking for Johnny Heller, they got to find, Nothing Rhymes with Green. That's frustrating. And also things do, but that's frustrating.
Well, so what it does come down to is, if you're going to name your studio something unusual or not directly related, then you are responsible to do the marketing so that everybody knows that connection.
Yeah,
And that
Billy's
can
done
take
that.
a lot longer to know, go to Heller as a, maybe yes. So it's cool, but then you've been doing this long enough that most people know who you are, and that comes up. And
So
go
while
ahead.
you're talking, I'm
Mhm.
going to go grab something. It'll take me about 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
You do that.
All right.
So, so Johnny, you could come up with, go to Heller.
Yeah. Or why the hell didn't you hire me first?
There it
Someone,
is.
yeah.
There it is. And I have people that go, why are the YouTube channel is called Red Baarns Audio. They think maybe my nickname was Red.
That's what I thought too.
And that's that
Before this happened.
yeah, that makes sense. And it's just my grandfather, because our name is spelled funny, would always say, like Red Barn. And so that's how mine stuck.
What did
Because
people say? Did people think your name is pronounced Baarns or something?
yeah, because
Baarns.
yeah, there are not many.
Double A.
The double A thing is not standard, so they think it might be pronounced funny. I got asked that question all the time, and I just followed my grandfather's tradition of just saying, yeah, just think of Red Baarns, and then that'll work. So that's how mine came up with. Nothing fancy.
So you were talking about marketing.
Uh-huh.
So this is one of the things.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
I see it.
It's a stress ball.
Oh. That's
that
cool.
goes out to clients and whatnot. But yeah, little stress ball.
Wow, that's cool.
Or or because everybody likes chocolate,
Oh, well,
Yeah, I don't know why you're not sending more of that out.
yeah, and I was gonna
oranges.
say, I haven't received what mine must be caught in the mail. I
So
didn't
that's orange.
I
Yeah,
didn't
right, yeah.
or you don't care that I don't know, or you just
Or
don't care.
and I've also got these, and look, I've been nibbling on that one.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, those are awesome. That's awesome.
So, with marketing though,
wait a minute. So your studio name is just an excuse to buy a shitload of candy.
yeah, and squeeze balls.
That's- Leave me alone. Okay.
But these have been very effective. In fact, this squeeze ball, one of these, got me my first live announce gig in Washington, D.C. a few years back because I had sent this to Leslie Chastain at Edge Studio. And it was on her desk one day, and she was like, "I need somebody for this live announce. I need somebody. Look, there's Bill Lord Squeezeball. I'll call him." And it's crazy.
Well,
Just this sitting on a desk got me a really, really cool gig.
yeah, I mean, that kind of thing happens surprisingly a lot. It's just a lot of it's dumb luck, being in the right place, having your name in the right place at the right time.
Yep, absolutely.
And also who you know, like oh, here's a question. Did you ever work in TV news, Bill?
That is another Bill Lord in Washington, D.C., who has since retired. He was with several outlets, but most recently WJLA, I believe, the ABC affiliate. But he retired and he wrote a book. And I called and asked him if he wanted me to narrate it, and he told me to pound sand. He was like, "I think I know how to read a book. I've been in news for my whole entire life." And
Is your SAG after name Bill Lord, or you have to
It
change
is.
it for him?
It is. Yeah.
Why was he using?
I don't know. Maybe William. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, but I get that question every now and then.
So what was the biggest thing that you had to change from being on the radio, and then, is there a mindset shift? Did you practice something? What Heller told you to slow the heck down? What things that needed to be changed in order to be good in audiobooks?
Basically, to learn how to act. Seriously. And it took me a while to figure out how to make that transition from just reading the words on the page, that I thought I was reading beautifully, of course.
Yeah, because you had done
Um,
a teleprompter, right?
well, not a teleprompter, but whatever. So, and I really had to learn how to find the emotional context and the subtext and mine that for is to let that dictate how I do my narration.
Yeah.
And Johnny and Carol were absolutely um, a very important part of that process. But that's what it was, and it took a while, man. It takes a while to.
Acting ain't easy.
No, it's not.
And
And
you've
it's
already
like
arrived. Is that what I'm hearing? Your acting is not
I'm,
a,
I'm always working on it, man.
yeah.
I'm always working to become a better actor. Always.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I'm being a smart aleck, but anybody who's been in the performance business for a little period of time realizes that you never arrive as a performer. There's never you might be better than your peers, but you're never as good as you can be. That's just something that every
I'm I'm
performer
I'm
figures
better
out
than I
at some point.
was. I'm better than I was last week.
Yeah, you bet, which is awesome. And I hope, but you're not working to be better for next week, are you? You've already arrived?
I'm
He's
working to
peaked.
be Jesus, Don.
I know the answer to this, but I need you to say it. Go ahead and tell us from your point
No,
of
I
view.
mean, every time I have a new character, I try to make that character more alive than the last character.
Yeah.
I just want them to be living, breathing entities, even though they're not.
If I don't want to be too personal, but I do want to ask some things, because I know that you went through, and many people have issues, personal, medical, whatever. And I know in the last 8, 9 months, maybe longer, you've had some issues to deal with. You don't have
Yeah.
to tell us with specificity, but how did you handle? Because you had to take a breather from actively seeking out work. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been out of the game for a while. I mean, I've been doing the coaching, but as far as reading for a living, that had to be put on the back burner for a little while. So I have something called sunct headaches. If anybody wants to look it up, it's SUNCT, and they're nasty little headaches. They hit you like somebody sticks a knife in your head, and it hurts like crazy, and it only lasts for 30 seconds or 2 minutes, and then it goes away.
Only?
Yeah, well, so
Well,
That's
I've been there when he's been hit by it. It's an
oh,
incredible change. I mean, he's not likable to start with, and then you get this headache thing, and it really makes him hard to deal with the guy.
well,
Now,
the thing
are
is
you? Is there something you can? Are they addressing it? Is there something?
well, yeah, so let me just say this. The thing about these is you might get 1 in a day, you might get 30 of them in 3 hours.
Oh,
You might get there was one point where I was counting them for my neurologist, and I was up to 200 and some a day
wow.
at its worst. So, anyway, so yeah, he put me on all this medication, and there was some anti seizure medication. I don't remember what it was, and it turned me into a zombie, a living zombie. I mean, I would speak with my son on the phone, and then 10 minutes later, this is a true story. 10 minutes later, I said to Joya, "No, I haven't called Taylor in a while. I should talk with him." I mean,
oh,
that's how bad it was. If I tried to record, I I couldn't remember what I was saying even with the words right in front of me. So, anyway, so it took a long time to figure out what to do, and I finally made them take me off all these medications, and I feel a lot better. And, oh, and he did a nerve block.
oh,
What does that
So
mean? I'm sorry.
so
I'm ignorant.
they take a needle and stick it in the back of your neck,
Okay.
and, like, have you ever seen somebody get Botox? Where they poke them like
Okay.
30, 40 times in the forehead?
Right.
Like, that's what he did to the back of my neck with some, I don't know, some medical
stuff.
something.
Okay.
Anyway,
And what does that do?
that helped.
Oh,
I got off the medicine, I was no longer a zombie, and that block helped to where now I just get a couple of these things a day or maybe, 4 or 5 a day,
well,
which is manageable for me.
okay. I was gonna say, for me, that sounds like only 4 or 5 a day. I don't want to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
I don't want to be flippant about it because I, realize it's serious. But your sound like that seems like a big relief. Is that correct?
Oh, huge relief. So back in the swing now. I'm out actively looking for work. I think I might just take on a public domain
Yeah.
just to do something and have some fun. And
I think it's great that you're back at it, that you looked at it, did the right thing for your career. I mean, we all go through things. I'll be honest about I'm going through some depression things that I'm having a hard time dealing with. And I haven't lost work yet, but I find myself less interested in anything.
oh, I was in a severe depression.
Yeah, it's
Severe.
yeah, so dealing so we all, no matter where we are in our careers, who we are, life is real. Things happen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you need to be as honest as you don't have to tell everybody on a show like this, but you need to be honest with yourself about it. And I was with Bill during some of these attacks, and you could see there was a real problem, and he couldn't. I don't know if you could have carrying on had it not been addressed somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's us. We don't need to talk about anybody else's physical ailments and things, but everybody has things. So let's go. Here's something from what's up there, Ken. Before we get to Carol's, let's look at Barbara's first, if you don't mind. What audiobook project are you most proud of in your career, Bill?
Wow, that's a tough one because I mean I like all my books.
Oh,
And others. I
You know.
put on the life of Heller. That was awesome.
what was the one? What's the one that I really like? That's the clown guy.
Oh. Um, surrounded by clowns. Um,
have to look through your list to see what it is. It's in my
Oh my
to
God.
listen to it.
I
It's
loved that
funny.
book.
It's a whole bunch of funny stories. It's a bunch of short, funny sci-fi type stories.
Yeah, in fact, one of my characters was an asparagus or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The stalk of asparagus.
That had to really help your acting skills.
That's right. Yeah. You don't often
So
get to play an asparagus.
it's a sci-fi fantasy author. Oh my God.
Yeah, you keep
See, I'm
talking.
still having some memory issues. I really am. Bob Jashonek, who is just bizarre in the way he writes, but it's so wonderful and clever writing. And this collection of short stories was just there are probably like 100 different characters in there, and it was a challenge, but it was so
Green
much
dress
fun.
surrounded by exploding clowns.
In a green dress, surrounded by exploding clowns. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah, cool book. But the other one that really, two of them that stick out. One was one of the very first books I did, and it was called The Samaritan. It was a thriller. It was it was really interesting. It had been optioned by Mayfield. What's his name? Yeah, I'm still having trouble remembering stuff, man.
That's all right.
It was optioned for a movie. Let's just say that, and it never got the green light. But it was that good of a story, and so I don't know. I was really proud of that one because even though it was one of my first books, and I was not a tremendous actor at that point, I thought that I handled it really well. You know what I mean?
And of
And
course, Jimmy Dean's Last Dance has got to be up there on your list.
Absolutely, and it's all-star cast.
Yeah. It's a multicast. It's really a very good book.
Yeah, it was. It was a really good book.
Yeah.
And
what else we got here?
So what aspect of acting now comes easier to you? So what's easier now that you've been doing this a little bit?
finding the subtext, understanding why the words are being said. I've been able to grow in that regard so much. It's like if somebody says, "I hate you."
I've heard that too many times, but go ahead.
Well, okay. I mean, what do they mean? Are they angry? Well, are
Don
they
wrote his own
angry?
vows.
Yeah, well, with Don, they're almost always angry.
Yeah.
And it's, "I hate you," or is it something playful? "Oh, I hate you." Right?
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
I haven't heard that one. Okay, I've heard the other one.
But it's the story is dictating how you play those words and that character. And I shouldn't say play words because you can't play words, but
But how you play that emotion.
The words don't always. I'm sorry, I spoke. What did you say, Don?
How you play that emotion, correct or incorrect?
Yeah.
I'm reminded actually when you talk about that because it's so. If you just read the words as written, without seeing the scenes cinematographically in your mind, you can miss so much. I remember when The Sopranos was on. I don't remember the two characters, but it's one of the mafia husbands and wives, younger, something like that, and they're in Jersey, and the dialogue basically it was a kind of a sex scene warming up to it. Go fuck you, and it's back and forth. Just that. If you had read it, you never would have played it for what it was, which was a playful exchange leading to an embrace in the next scene stuff. And Joanna and I watching it, this is really amazing because if you just read that in the script, fuck you, fuck, and, you do it absolutely the way the author did not intend.
Exactly.
And so it's fascinating. When you think you know, you frequently don't know. And that's why I always suggest, and Billy's getting really great at this, looking for the opposite. What do you think it is? Well, now try it. So go ahead, now try it the other way and see what you're left with. One of the advantages in the audiobook acting world is you can play around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's all a bunch of squiggly lines. So if these squiggly lines don't do what you need them to do, then you can erase them and have new squiggly lines. If you're on stage, you can't fix going up on a line in the Wednesday matinee until the Wednesday night show.
Right.
But in an audiobook, no, you can play. If you take a moment and think about it. What if I think this is this, but what if I try this? Listen, compare. And I think that's helpful.
Go ahead. Yeah. Well, one thing that I think a lot of narrators miss is when an author is sort of doing a this and that, they might be a paragraph apart. Oh God, what can I think of as an example? Um, so last night I went out and I had an Italian dinner and blah, 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 blah. Tomorrow night, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And it's like you almost have to play that tonight, tomorrow night. You
Yeah.
have to catch that and make that little, um, I don't know.
Transition.
You have to put the right
Yeah,
attitude in it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's just once you're really dialed into what an author is saying, and you get their sense of humor, and you get their style, and you get their characters, then it's easier to pick up on those little clues that are, I always say that everything you need to know is in the text. The author's told you everything.
That's a Paul Ruben comment. Absolutely.
Well, it's like you know what the room looks like. You know what everybody's wearing. You know if they are smiling happily or evilly. Uh, the author has told you everything. And even though much of it has to be sort of deciphered, like what you were saying with the FUs going back and forth.
Yeah. Here's a question from Chris. What tools are I can't read. I'm sorry.
What tools or process do you use to keep all the character voices consistent?
Okay. As soon as I have cast a character, um, I'll take a 5 or 10-second snippet of that character, record it, and bounce it into a file of just character voices for that book. So if I need to reference it later on, the guy comes back 4 chapters later, I just pop open that folder and click on it, listen to it, and off I go.
Now, do you also, so when you're casting characters, do you base them on some real person you already know or a movie actor? Do you just make it up? I mean, some people I do know, they'll say, this character is Tom Hanks in this movie, and the way he said something in this scene, could be, and it may come out totally different, but that's at least what's in their head. Or they make it up for each character. And how do you kind of keep that process if you're creating a character or a voice? Do you have a process?
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, you get all the clues in the text. You sort of have an idea of what somebody's like, and sometimes I'll cast. And Johnny, this is something that you've always said. You'll cast a character that you've seen on TV or in a movie,
From your
and
frame of reference. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, like, if I'm looking for um, a, a woman in her 60s, highly driven, a major bitch, I go right to my sister.
Oh, I
Bam.
thought you were going to say me.
I know where you're
I
going.
thought I was going to get that one. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe next time you will think of me.
That's
Okay.
And I only said that for comedic value. She's not a major bitch. She's just
minor bitch.
little bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are now, do you track that, or is it just if you hear your voice, you could you're tracking your characters after you create them, you're keeping them in a file, and then you're listening. Do you also keep a note that says, "Hey, that was my my sister's nephew," whatever? Do you keep that part of it, or you just have the voice?
I've just got the voice.
Okay.
I've just got the voice because when I hear the voice, it's like, oh yeah, that's that's the nephew, or that's
Now, how long did it take you? So, okay, by the way, of all the things, Lisa gets a bunch of my wife gets a bunch of these voiceover things that are dumb guy, smart girl, because that's the way almost all the casting is now for
right,
voiceover
right.
related stuff. And guess who gets the dumb guy part? The man on the street part. Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe. And then she's learned, don't if they say, oh, there's just a couple lines in British or a couple lines in Jamaican accent. She's like, oh, well, I can't get my husband to do that because I can't maintain a character. If they need a revision 4 days later, and I had done maybe pretend I did a Jamaican accent, maybe I could carry it on for one line. So, but I have a hard time coming back to it a day later or a week later and matching it for my life. So she doesn't get me those anymore. How do you go about, if you just listen, you can instantly do that? How long did it take you to get that skill to where you can match something you did before?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I don't know, man. It's just I've just always been able to do that,
Okay, not
you
me.
know? I've
I
just always been able to do that.
see,
And,
Don, I think you can too. I think all of us can do a pretty good job of impersonating ourselves. No matter what it is. Once and also once you've done Don your Jamaican accent, or Billy's done his minor bitch girl or whatever it is. So once it's there and it's that you can save it. It's the main character, you don't need to because it's always there.
Right.
But sometimes the tertiary or other characters don't appear as often if they show up on page 17. If you're doing like a lit RPG, and it's a Scottish a dwarf or something, they've got to be. They can't suddenly be a British elf on page 232. So you've got to make sure that you're consistent in what you play. So it's good to keep track of them somewhere, somehow.
And how?
so
Go ahead, Bill.
let me ask you a question, Johnny. Do you have character voices that you bring back book after book? Not necessarily every book, but recurring.
Only one person reappears frequently in my work, and it's I think I've told you,
Father Loftman.
Father Loftus.
Loftus.
When I'm to school at Loyola, Chicago, a fine Jesuit institution there, and Father Loftus used to teach. He had to take a lot of philosophy and theology, and Father Loftus would talk like this, and everything. All right, everybody, you're gonna have an open book test. It'll be easy because, as I mentioned, the books will be open. You can page through and find the answers, or if you're not sure, ask your friend next door, and because it's okay to cheat here, because I'm a Catholic priest and I can just forgive you. So stuff like that. So I would take. So that guy comes in. He was sort of like a Jesuit George Carlin, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So he
Those are
shows
very
up a lot.
popular.
Yeah,
So
he shows up
you
because I just think he's a fascinating character.
you were at Loyola when Sister Jean was still a novitiate, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
like 80
Yes,
years ago or something.
I was there. I was there when she was just a young girl frolicking in the bushes. Yeah, it
So
was
so
early 1890s. I took
I
history because there was less of it to know then. Yeah.
well, there you go. So I have one voice that tends to come back, and in fact, it goes back to that book, The Samaritan. There was a mafia guy, a mafia don, very grandfatherly, gray hair, Harvard educated. So how do you play that guy? You ain't whipping out the Joe Pesci for that, you know? That just doesn't work. So I I went to my father-in-law, Armando, who was from Italy,
Oh yeah.
and he talked, kind of like this, and I loved Armando. He was such a good man, and I bring him back. He keeps
Oh
me
yeah.
company every now and then. Mm.
So I'm going to guess that almost everybody reuses some of their variations on some of their voices in every book. I hear my wife doing it in book 30, a voice that she did in book 2 of a different series, because the character is similar and nobody knows, no one will have heard her 30 books ago doing something similar.
Right.
And now here's a question that I have though. How close do I need to, so if I'm in chapter 25 and a character was in chapter 1, how close does that character have to be to what I did in chapter 1?
Well, this actually opens up another question or another topic here. So you're talking about if you're really developing specific characters, you know, a voice and a personality like this, and a voice and a personality like that, whatever. Um, if you're doing that, then you've got to keep them pretty damn close, I think. Otherwise, people are going to get confused.
We-
But sometimes we don't necessarily differentiate the characters that extremely. Sometimes you're just indicating characters. And, the master of that was Frank Muller, for God's sake.
So
You
explain to
know?
me, please drill down.
Okay,
Say that
so
again,
he
please.
so he he did not necessarily change his voice.
Meaning he didn't do, this is a female and this is a male.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody does that, Don.
Okay.
But he played the characters so beautifully. He didn't have to.
So explain that. What explain playing the characters
So
beautifully? What does that mean?
in other words, if it were female, yeah,
Mhm.
he'd put a little pitch change on there probably, but he played her attitude, who she was. And I don't know. There was a slight difference in the voice, but a major difference in how he played the characters, and that's what differentiated them.
I would add also, if you're doing the character for Don's original question, the character you created in chapter 1, if that character reappears in chapter 17 or 25,
Mhm.
is the same character.
Right.
Right.
However, characters, however you've set them up, respond to different situations they may be in.
Okay.
Right.
So you need to be able to. So here's lovely, pleasant, easygoing Don Baarns. Here's angry, irritated Don Baarns. I would suggest that's a different look. And the way that you have to keep consistency, but once like even if you bring your voice back, like we just discussed, you can only bring a voice back if that voice fits the character you're playing.
Right.
You can't just paste a voice
And the scene,
and say
correct?
and the scene, everything.
Right.
So a character is determined by it's all the Stanislavski stuff or Shirtleff or Meisner or anything. But the point is, once you've got your clues to the character, once you see the character, and I believe you must see the scene to play the scene, you know who it is and you play it. And it becomes all these discussions we're having become just really academic and not all that practical because it becomes almost second nature.
Exactly.
If Don, Bill, and Johnny are my three characters, and it's Don's line, Bill's line, Johnny's line, I'm not sure I will impersonate anybody.
Right.
But Don will sound differently than Bill, and Bill will sound differently than Johnny. And so, in other words, because you're different attitudes, different perceptions, different ways to look at the world, different backstories. And I think once you're, and also you just visually see, I visually see Bill. What do I think that guy sounds like? And something comes to me. And that's what you play. And as long as I see Bill, as long as I see Don, those are the characters I play. I just think it's super important to see the scene, to play the scene.
I saw Sam Jackson on Masterclass. Has anybody used Masterclass? The website Masterclass? It's pretty cool. Sam Jackson did a workshop on acting, and it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But one of the
You mean
things that
Samuel Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying Sam, like your pal Sam. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, we
Yeah,
go back.
Sammy the J. Gotcha.
So anyway, now you made me forget what I was going to say. So he talked about his process. So it's like when he's going to play a certain character, he digs down into what he perceives that their childhood was like. Were they the youngest of a family of 10 who had to fight for everything that he got in life? Or was it the older brother and sister who just like, this belongs to me, And as those people grow up, they become different personalities.
Right.
And he looks at his characters that deeply. And I thought, wow, that is amazing, really.
I think that is nothing to do against Mr. Jackson, but I think for most actors in their training, that becomes part of their training, the backstory for their characters. And I know Stanislavski method is just that, and I know Shirtleff and Meisner and everybody else have variations of the theme. The difference is in an audiobook workshop, job. You don't do the backstories for the guy who comes in and I got a phone call for you, sir. You don't need his backstory.
Right.
But everybody else, but the main characters, yeah, you need to know about them. You need to know just before they enter the scene, where were they? Well, everybody, when you get on stage to deliver your line, that's not when your character began life. And I think that's all acting stuff that you either learn or don't learn to your regret.
Mm-hmm.
And I think many of the, while I believe that audiobook narration is a cinematographic and a cinematic kind of talent, it has its roots in the organic theater. And that's why I always suggest to everyone who wants to do this, do some acting.
Yeah.
because you learn so much.
Well, okay, so like when the author is setting the stage, right? Like you look at it cinemagraphically,
Yeah.
he or she is painting the picture of the room. It's a dark room and it's dank and it's damp and you can't
Yeah.
really see in the corner. And so what is all this doing? Is it's painting a picture of a place that you're going to be a little uncertain about, which means when your character speaks, that uncertainty has got to bubble to the top. You
Yeah.
can't just go, he said in afraid, in a scaredy cat voice. you know,
Yeah.
you've got to infuse that uncertainty into the words as they're being spoken.
Yeah. I think a lot of audiobook work, a lot of acting work in general. It's like, if you ever see a film in rushes when it's not, they haven't added the music, the lighting may not be, excuse me. Geez. So the lighting may not be right, something's off, et cetera, et cetera. And you see the things, and then all of a sudden you add music, because music creates the scene as well.
Yeah.
When you see a scary movie, da-da-da, that stuff creates the scene. The guy walks in, you hear the door creak. So right away, you know where you are.
Right.
So the actor in the audiobook world has to add all those lighting and sound effects. And you did a wonderful job, Billy, discussing what the room looks like. I like the idea. Is the sun coming in through the window and all those little dust bunnies are floating around and stuff? Are you hearing crickets or birds outside? All that kind of stuff. It changes the scene. There's some, I've seen a funny meme on a, I'm trying, they do no one puts baby in the corner. What am I thinking of? Dirty Dancing.
Dirty
Yeah.
Dancing.
They had that music, but they put it on I think they put it on a Star Wars scene or something. So, and it just changed the scene because
You might call that
Darth
out
Vader's
of
coming in
context.
and they're
Yeah. But by the way, it is one of the reasons that movies you will see or hear later in their budget, the music for major motion pictures could be in the millions of dollars, and that's because they had the conductor do 17 different versions until they found the version that actually fit. And sometimes that is a process like actors going through and working out what it should be.
Yeah.
But that's a major part of the emotional content of a good movie. And now you got, in a book, obviously there's no music, but it is yeah. So
He's got an earpiece.
yes.
maybe the main guy in the next series, the next book. You never know.
That's right.
I did a book really quick called Nerds, Nerds. It was a book by these YA kids who had different. One kid had asthma, another kid had was really little. All these little things that maybe got them picked on by the bullies, but a government agency used them to turn them into superpowers. Kid with braces, the braces came alive and did shit. The asthma kid, there's little asthma guys with like rockets and things. And I didn't know, so I made the asthma kid really wheezing.
Oh, right.
So I really played it up like an idiot, not knowing book 3 is all him.
Being the superhero.
Yeah, he was like the super. There's all about the asthma guys. So I passed out trying to read it because do that breath thing.
Oh,
So
you bad guy.
yeah. You have to be careful with the choices you make. Don't make them so broad that they A, hurt your instrument, or B, you can't sustain it for a full book.
Just that one line just killed me.
Yeah, I know. Just doing that. Yeah, it's amazing how. Yeah, like pirate books do that all the time. If you're a pirate,
Oh, I love
very
pirate
dangerous
books.
stuff.
By the way, I just found the Johnny Heller book, Nerds, and
there it
threw
is.
it in the comments in case somebody wants to go.
I think there's 5 books in the series. It's really cute. Buckley, I think, wrote it. Michael
Yes.
Buckley, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
so if
that,
someone wants to
that's
check
one.
that out, they definitely can check that out. So that's up there in the comments. And so so you really care though? You are taking a character and it may grow. I don't have to be hyper close in terms of exactly what I did in chapter 1 because I have a new scene. As long as you can tell, obviously, and also the character could have grown. I mean, by the time it's chapter 17, chapter 1 I was 17, and chapter 32 I'm now 32, and it's
God,
going
you're
to
a
be a
slow
different scene.
reader.
Yeah.
You're a very
Yeah.
slow reader, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. Oh, yes. Yes. Talker as well.
It's rare that your character ages all that much. And I'm not doing like Benjamin Buttons or the opposite. It's like that doesn't happen a lot. But I think more than your character aging, which can happen, I just think the character gets in different situations. I mean, this is all lovely chat. What happens when we throw politics or religion here and it becomes an argument?
Okay.
So that's a different scene. And as Billy said, the biggest takeaway he got and the biggest thing he learned that's so important, it's the subtext. All the things you need are on the page. They're there.
Yep.
The things you say you don't know, I promise you do know. You're just not aware you know it.
When the author was writing it, he had or she in the back of their mind is trying to create a scene for you. When I read a good book, it takes me away. I see where I am and I smell the smells and I see the sights and I feel the feels and and when I read a book, I experience that because the author has done such a great job of painting those things. And that's just, I don't know. I just think it's our responsibility as narrators to be able to take what we see and present it in a way that allows the listener to see it all themselves, feel the feels, smell the smells, blah, blah, blah. That's our job.
Indeed. Well done.
So I have a
And it's,
question for you. When so you have X number of months coming dealing with the the medical issues. When you came back, was there anything that was more obvious to you that because you had some time away, you came back and said, "Oh, any epiphanies that came out of taking some time off?" Because sometimes if I look at something fresh after not doing it for a little while, I see some things. Anything like that happen with you as you're coming back that you're seeing now?
yeah, in a way,
Yeah, your life.
because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, your outlook might be a little different.
Excuse me, it is. And yeah, definitely just an outlook on life is a little different. But even with books, I used to really overthink a lot. I overthought myself. I'm one of those people. And stepping away for 9 months or whatever it was and coming back in, I have this new sense of almost confidence. In other words, it's like, oh, well, so what? You know, I've lost all this time, but now I'm back in the saddle and I'm just going to do my damn job and have fun doing it. And I'm not thinking about every word that I'm saying and how I'm saying it and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm exaggerating because I don't necessarily do that per se, but I'm the leash is off
Oh, nice.
Okay.
and I'm running free.
Mm.
I've taken the leash off.
Should you now looking back? Do you think you should have done that earlier, or you?
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. Johnny Heller 5, 6 years ago said, "Billy, you need more confidence." And he's right. He was right. And 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 I guess I've got that now because it's like, "Pff, so what? I lost a year, but I'm back and pff, what do I have to lose?"
I think you're
Just
rediscovering the fun of this job.
exactly.
So many of us have we get so mired down in the marketing and the social media
And the tech.
let's not forget we're doing it because it's fun. I mean, we could sell insurance.
Right.
We're not. Why aren't we? So if I mean, life, I mean, I don't know what your belief system is in terms of rebirth and everything, but we go around once that I'm aware of. You just have to enjoy as much of it as you can because if you don't, what the hell is the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, any
Hopefully
words
you
of wisdom for those of us that are in the newer part of our career, based on where you've come after your 10-year trip?
Take the leash off as quick as you can. You know, trust yourself. Just freaking trust yourself. If you've dug into the book and you're getting what it's all about and you get the subtext and all of that, just tell the story. Take the leash off and be free and tell the story. I don't know. If you're looking for an oversimplified, words of wisdom, there you go.
And do it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just trust yourself right out of the gate, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we
Be
all have a
good
lot to learn.
immediately.
Yeah, well, but trust yourself
Yeah.
and don't wear a leash.
Well, it makes sense. Most performers overthink things in the early stages, and at some point you have to realize I'm never going to arrive, so I'm going to actually act right now as if I know everything. I'm going to do everything I can do to the best of my ability today, and then I'm going to continue to refine it over time and not worry about every micro detail, because you can't solve all of them at once. It's a process, and everyone's going to be better next year than they are this year, and some things just take time. No matter what you're doing, there's going to be some time involved there, and people want to be great tomorrow without putting in the effort. And good luck on that as a performer. I don't see how that
But
really works.
but walk confidently, read confidently, and never be afraid to learn
There it is.
and to improve.
Awesome.
Good job.
Yeah. Excellent, Bill. Excellent summary. We're going to close on that. Johnny, anything we need to promote or talk about here?
The next thing coming up of interest is the New England Narrator Retreat, October 14th to 17th. I've got maybe three publishers lined up, maybe four will come on. So we're going to have, if we get four, it'd be nice. You will be able to find out about it in johnnyheller.com or follow me on Facebook. There's limited space, but I think I'll be opening registration. What is today? Tuesday? So probably end of this week, beginning of next. But I think I want to open it before I take off for New Orleans.
Okay, well, I got to say one thing about that. This guy tends to sell out almost immediately based on people that have already been there. And I find that one of the most bizarre things in the world, where you get people that have already gone are willing to go and reinvest. So in other words, if you're thinking of doing it and you haven't been there before, do it early on and get your reservation in, because so many people have found enough value that they go back. And I'm just shocked at how many people go back, because it is not the least expensive thing they could do for a week. There's cost in terms of travel. There's cost to be in a hotel. There's just that life. And then he's got all these great coaches that are there. And so a testament to how strong it is how many people go back multiple years. Not everyone goes every year, but I'm amazed at the number that have been there 2, 3, 4 times. And that's just because they get value for whatever investment they make to be there. So, Bill, you have anything you want to promote, talk about? People, I didn't put up.
Coaching.
What's your site?
Nothing rhymes with orange.us.
Okay, nothing. All right, cool. And of course,
Or actually, no. I'm sorry. I changed that URL. It's nothing rhymes with orange.studio.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Nothing rhymes. Boy, now I have to spell. I will put that in the show notes after I verify that I have it right. Okay. I will do that. Check in the description. You'll find it there. Okay. And go ahead.
Oh, and the other thing is, coming soon, another podcast that will not be about audiobooks, right, Johnny?
Yeah, Billy and I are going to do a podcast. We're working on it.
Cool.
As soon as I get my head and heart together.
Yep. And
so look for that.
That'll happen soon. And I have our tech show. So I have a tech show, VO Tech Simplified, that's every Tuesday right now, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then whatever other time zone you're in, you get to translate that. So join me for that. It's live. You can ask questions about the tech-related stuff that have to do with audiobooks, voiceover, anything home studio related. So that's every Tuesday. Join us there. Be sure to subscribe. Go ahead and give us a like. It really helps after we're done if you leave a comment about the show in the YouTube feed as well. And you're, of course, sharing it with people. So thank you for being here. Next week,
Can I
Karen.
just say something super quick? Super
Yes.
quick. First off, I've dropped in on your tech show and I've dropped in on this show, and they have both been full of nuggets, and I love what you guys are doing with both of the shows. It's been fantastic, and thank you for letting me be a little part of it today. I really
Oh,
appreciate that.
thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, Billy boy.
Johnny, any last words?
No, that's enough last words. We're already like an
All right.
hour late. Okay.
All right. You guys have a fantastic day. Look forward to seeing